Oh, I gotta throw it to myself. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Fan Friction. I'm your host, Jack Shipley. I have a cold today, so this episode's going to be about 2 decibels lower than it normally is. Welcome to the show. We're glad to have you. If you've never seen our show before, this is a show where we debate about movies. We ask fast questions, slow questions. We get points. Someone wins at the end. It's going to be fun. So let me introduce our fighters today. We're doing a sort of Philly fight. I forgot to actually ask him where he's from, so he's going to tell you in a moment. But my first guest is Tom Zambeno. Hello, Tom. Welcome to the show. He has to unmute himself, so I'm just going to keep talking.
Am I the one you forgot where I'm from?
Yeah, you're in Philly area. I just don't know where.
I'm not in Philly.
You're a fire
I
fan.
was born in Delaware, and I don't have any Halloween shirts, but I do have a gargoyle on both my shirt and my glass, so close enough.
It counts. You're a fan. It sort of makes you a Philly native. I don't know. Let's go to our next guest. Our second guest is from the Philadelphia area himself. He's really awesome. We got a chance to meet him when we were in Philly for Comic-Con. I didn't, but everybody else did. Please say hello to Bill Cariola.
Hello, Internet. How's it going?
And
Thanks for having me back.
Tom and you have both been on the show before, so welcome back.
Yes. And
that means the third guy. We only told one person on the show today to dress up for Halloween, and he did it. So please welcome from Cherry Hill, New Jersey, TJ Dex.
What's going on, everybody? Glad to be here. If you couldn't tell, I'm super serious and ready to do this. So let's rock.
Yeah, this is going to be a wonderful fight. Thank you very much for being here today. So, of course, to help me do this show, I need some fact checks. I need some social. And to do that with me today, I have Brian Hurst.
Oh, hey, hello.
I threw it to you.
That's me.
It's sideways. And of course, our champion, Kimber Barrett.
Hey guys, how you doing? It's very early, but I'm awake and excited to see what these guys have to say today.
So this is a fight belt to get to your belt. So the winner of today's show will go forward and have a chance at winning Kimber's belt. She likes to say you have a chance to actually see her in the same show, but she's going to beat you. But we'll see what happens. If you've seen our first round, Brian Hurst did fight his way back to a championship match. So we will be seeing him soon as well. So thank you guys for helping out. Let's get right into the show. We asked some speed round questions first. So we're going to start with Bill. I'm sorry, I'm going to do that a couple times.
Yes, please.
Bill. I'm going to read out 5 categories. You're going to choose one, and that's going to be our speed round question to start.
Okay.
Categories are: Don't Go In There, Candy for Daddy Day, Satan's Evening, Caw-caw, and The Demon Barber of Dream Street. Which one would you like to begin with?
I think I'll go with The Demon Barber on Dream Street.
All right.
And also, I think this is where you told us to remind you to mention Twitter.
And someone actually listened. I appreciate it. Hey, if you're along at home to play along with the game, we'd like to hear from you. So check out the chat on the YouTube channel, but also talk to us on Twitter. We use the hashtag #ThisIsTuff. That's TUFF. And join along in the conversation. We have a lot of fun. So thank you for reminding me. I appreciate it. You don't get a point for that, but I do appreciate it. Okay. The question is The Demon Barber of Dream Street. Your question: best movie in the Elm Street franchise.
Number 1.
The original. 7.
Okay. Who said 7? Tom. All right. And then I heard Bill say the first one first. So you get the original. And then TJ, you've got to pick another one.
Dream Warriors.
All right. That was 3, right?
Yes.
All right. So we got Bill with the original, TJ with Dream Warriors, Tom with number 7, and we will have 30 seconds and 15 seconds on the clock, which time will start in a moment when I can get my phone to unlock. You know, I'm always prepared here on Fan Friction, so thank you for your patience. Here we go. Whenever you're ready, Bill.
The original Nightmare on Elm Street is a classic of the genre. It redefined the slasher film. It introduced the concept of Freddy Krueger as a menacing villain. He is frightening. He is scary. He is disgusting. He is like everything you would imagine a dream boogeyman to be. He is a credible threat.
You have 10 more seconds.
I know. I'm sorry. It scared me when I was that age, when I saw that film. It like resonates. It still stands. It even holds up to this day as a very scary movie.
All right. I did forget to take my bell out of the box and bring it over, but I haven't. So next, I'm so prepared today. TJ, whenever you're ready.
Dream Warriors took everything that Freddy Krueger and Nightmare on Elm Street, the first one, did, and elevated it into another level with having a group of kids that actually could stand up to Freddy and having a group of kids that you could kind of relate to and actually get behind. Especially the kills were a lot more inventive than the first and the second one, especially with the bad rap the second one's coming off of. Now it's actually pretty considered a very good movie. But before then, they had to switch up with Dream Warriors, and having Freddy Krueger take more of a comedic aspect and still be a frightening presence in the film is why Dream Warriors is such a great start of what Freddy Krueger went from 3 on.
All right. Tom, number 7. Whenever you're ready.
All right, A New Nightmare took the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, which was floundering basically from number 2 on, really basically became a comedy character, and it turned the entire genre on its head once again, as Wes Craven has done multiple times in his career, bringing it into the real world in one of the first incarnations of the sort of meta genre that is incredibly popular today, bringing the terror of Freddy Krueger into what is the real world, and nobody believing the actress playing Nancy playing herself.
All right. Bill, you'll have, what did I say, 20 seconds? You'll have 20 seconds to rebut. Whenever you're ready.
Number 3 introduced us to more of the clown Freddy, and it was the beginning of the end of the entire franchise. Tom even said at first the entire franchise started to go downhill from 2 on, leaving number 1 as the gold standard. And New Nightmare started the whole trend of the Scream horror, which is a scourge on all horror films, as Scream was just terrible. Number 1 still stands. Everyone still loves it. It is a gold standard for that entire series. Yeah.
TJ, whenever you're ready.
Now, Nightmare on Elm Street 1, tip of the iceberg, and to say it floundered, there's no way it floundered if you have 7 more movies after that. Sure, they might not be as great as the first one's considered and the third one's considered, and even the New Nightmare. But to say it flounders, it's just now the third one you actually get more of a fleshed out Freddy. You get the comedic aspect. You get Robert Englund, his real personality, and the group again.
Tom, close this out.
First off, You Bite Your Tongue, Sir. Scream is a fantastic movie, and New Nightmare opened the door for movies like Scream to turn the genre on its head and give basically what was a dying genre, the slasher film, and it gave it a new life as the sort of meta genre, no one believes her, the actual serial killer in the real world with a terrifying presence of Freddy.
Ooh, this is interesting because there's a lot of back and forth here. I'm going to get some help from the checkers here. Let's start with Brian. What'd you hear? What'd you like? Brian Hurst.
Sorry, I was muted, guys. My house was noisy. That was my fault. I wasn't expect getting it thrown to me so quickly. This is a tough one. I mean, arguably these are the only 3 good Nightmare movies. TJ did mention 2's kind of getting a little bit of love later in its life, which I like. 2's okay. There's a lot going on here, and a lot of things are true. You know, in my role as fact checker, both 1 and 7 are Wes Craven like putting his stamp on horror in their own way. You know, 7 predates Scream, but it does kind of the same thing as Scream. Dream Warriors, I think, is like the proper sequel to Nightmare. It like builds on what Nightmare's about, and like so it's hard to like weigh those. I have a hard time weighing those 3 against each other. So do you need me to actually give an opinion, or do you want to go from there?
No. I would like your opinion on who you think gave the best argument based on that information.
Probably Bill, I think, if I had to. Even though he's wrong about the Scream thing, but the rest of his arguments still stand okay.
Kimber.
Yeah, he really pissed off the internet with that Scream. I agree.
Sorry, I don't like Scream. I won't apologize. So.
I agree that these are the 3 best ones, with Tom's choice actually as my favorite of the entire franchise.
Same.
It's really hard. Everyone had some good points. I think that Bill and TJ got off to a little bit of a rough start and had good rebuttals, but I think Tom was really strong the entire time. So I lean towards Tom just because he was consistently like getting out new information the whole time, and I thought he was the strongest in the round.
So for me, when I heard everything, I thought Bill had a weak opening, but a really good rebuttal round. Like he really started to get a stride, and it's the first match of the day, so it definitely takes a moment to warm up. And then TJ, I thought, had a really great introduction about how the movie elevated. It was as good as the original, more inventive, brought the series back. And then I thought maybe the rebuttal was a little bit weaker in that respect. But I do think that Tom had the most consistent narrative throughout. I just don't know if I got enough there. But I do think that he was consistent throughout. It's really, really close. So I'm going to go with Kimber on this one and give Tom the point. So well done.
Not shut out.
And as we all know, we don't have a crowd here, so feel free to cheer for yourselves. Woohoo! Okay, let's go into round one. Tom, who would you like to go first, second, and third?
I'm going to have TJ lead off.
Okay. And do you want to go last or?
Yeah, I'll go last.
All right.
Sit in the wings.
Bill and Tom. Perfect. Okay, question number 1. You were stuck in a horror movie from the 80s. What horror hero from that era, would you want to have with you? So you're choosing the character, not the actor. TJ, you get to go first. Who'd you pick?
I picked Ash from Evil Dead series.
Would you like to take a little opening statement about Ash?
Absolutely. Ash is the everyday man. Bruce Campbell brought this character to complete life thanks to Sam Raimi in this amazing film. Ash is the quintessential everyman that proves again and again throughout all these films that if you want someone that doesn't have to have superpowers or any type of special abilities in any type of magical way, you just want someone that you can trust, that you want to be in a room with, that if it comes down to it and you got someone busting through that door, who are you going to look to? It's going to be Ash. He has such an arc from the first movie onto Army of Darkness and even the series of just being the quiet, well-mannered guy to then eventually being this arrogant, tough guy with his boomstick and his chainsaw that nothing that you can throw at him he hasn't seen before. He faces demons and evil spirits. There's not one person that he has to go up against in a couple movies or just one guy who goes up against a certain breed of something. This guy has seen it all. And to say that Ash would be someone that you don't want with you during a horror situation you're wrong.
All right. Bill, who'd you pick?
I picked Alice Johnson from Nightmare on Elm Street 4 and 5.
All right,
so do you want to just go a little bit about that?
Yeah, please.
All right. So in the character of Alice, we watch her over 2 movies, a journey of somebody who starts off as very unsure of herself, very introverted, and all of these awful things start to happen to her and her friends and family and her life around her. She grows, she rises to the occasion, and she fights off probably one of the most awful demonic forces we've seen in films in the 80s. She is a fantastic character, and she also has to do it again in part 5, which she does. Trying to think best way to describe it. It's really done by Lisa Wilcox. You see, she is a completely different character by the time we get to 5. She is headstrong. She is doing what she needs to do. She is very strong-willed, independent. It's really incredible, and she really knocks it out of the park. The whole thing hinges on her performance, to which she does, and she does very well. She is easily the strongest of all the Freddy heroines, and that's why I definitely want her in my movie if I need to survive. So,
nice, well done. And Tom, who do you pick?
All right, I'm going to go with Roddy Piper's iconic role as John Nada from the movie They Live.
Awesome. Please tell us about John.
So what John Nada was a drifter at the beginning of They Live, and throughout the movie, he begins to put together the pieces of what's going on in this world. So one of the most underrated things about John Nada is not only is he a big guy, which I'm strong, but I'm not nearly as big and strong as Roddy Piper was in the 80s and John Nada. Not only is he strong, but he is also intelligent, as you can see, not being the stereotypical trope of the dumb horror movie hero, doesn't really know what's going on. This guy is someone that figures everything out, takes all the clues in as he goes, takes the information not at face value, but also absorbs it, as well as does one of the key things that I noticed in horror movies, which was when he picked up a weapon, he didn't just pocket it. He checked the ammo to see how many bullets the cop had in his pistol. That is an intelligent man. That is a man who clearly has come from the military, as you can see with his backpacking. So he's capable, and he's intelligent enough to not only check his ammo, but also count his ammo. So we're not going to be stuck in a situation where we're out of ammo and about to die. Giannata.
All right, guys. Why is your superhero not superhero? We do way too many superheroes. Why is your horror hero the better hero? Fight it out.
All right, I'm going to start this off real quick and easy. So Alice, you said she has a huge arc. A lot of things happen to her and her family and her friends. Guess what? All of her family and friends die. Every time they're around her, she dies. All of them, from her boyfriend, who eventually is the father of her child, dies. There's nothing heroic about Alice other than herself, and her son are the only people that can handle those abilities and fight Freddy. Everyone around her perishes.
Speaking
Tom,
of which,
just out of curiosity, how many people survived Evil Dead besides Ash?
exactly the point I was about to make.
the entire kingdom to King Arthur. Who else can get King Arthur?
That doesn't count. That's from the 90s, sir.
Yep. Nope. So that whole, and I knew you were going to go there. The army, like Army of Darkness, Ash. He doesn't show up till the 90s. We got to stick to the 80s, which is in the argument. And in both of those two movies, he gets thrown around. He nearly gets killed. He fails at everything.
But
the only reason why he even quote unquote survives is because he ends up in the past. And how's that really survival anyway? Like, I don't want to end up in the medieval times. The only reason why that happens is because his daughter reads the transcript.
No one else has.
Not only that, TJ, Ash is also out for himself in those first two movies. That's the whole reason he's the only one that survived the first movie, and that's why. And the only reason that the other girl survived the second one is because she was actually useful in reading out the spell that sent him back in time. He is out for himself. He doesn't give a shit about anyone. He doesn't give a shit about you. You're gonna
absolutely give a shit about me.
He's a demon halfway through the movie.
In a room. You're talking about Giannata, who you said yourself, if he doesn't have guns or ammo, he's basically just a giant goon. And guess what Ash has? Ingenuity. What did he do when he lost his arm? He strapped a chainsaw to it.
That he got help with. He did not do that himself. He had to get help. So
What do you mean? I would be there to help him. It's in a room with me. He would have me there. I might be the first minute there screaming like a little banshee, but guess what? He's going to be like, get your britches up and let's do this.
No, he wouldn't. He would be doing that in Army of Darkness, not Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2.
Evil Dead 2, he has the same exact personality. If I'm sitting
wasn't quite not really. Not really. He was not there yet. I'm sorry.
I'm strapping right up with him, and I'm going to go fight with him.
TJ, you're going to be a demon halfway through the movie, all right? You'll end up being, you'll get your ankle cut halfway through, and you'll end up being a demon.
We'll have to lock you in the basement, and we'll have weird-looking green alien TJ.
And he'll find a way to read the Necronomicon and get me back. That's a simple. He'll find the way, guys. I'm talking about ingenuity. Like, this guy is the smartest one out of these three people. When it comes to Alice, again,
he stumbled his way through two movies.
He is a moron that barely gets lucky. Now, before, like, I gotta tarp on this one. So we got to talk about, first off, his name is actually Nada, because that character was so memorable they didn't bother to give him a name. So that's number one. Name. It's literally in the credits. It's Nada. There's nothing. Also, let's talk about this guy who, I hate to point this out. He dies in the end of his own movie. So if I need to survive, I don't want a guy that's going to die on me. And what is he? Let's look at his arc in the film. He barely wins a fight against Keith David. Barely, who is a regular person. And in the rest of the movie, he's fighting space Republicans. I mean, like, how hard is this? It's like,
exactly.
One person.
I'm fighting against space aliens, not demons, not Freddy Krueger. He's immortal. It has sequels.
We're going to see some crazy stuff. I don't want a guy that can. He also, not to mention, he gets outsmarted by Meg Foster twice, which is a problem.
So what's going to happen with you and Alice when she goes into the dream world, leaves you sitting there, and then leaves you victim to Freddy coming onto our playing world? Because he can do that through Alice. He manipulates her and uses her as a portal hole. Being friends with her and being in a room trying to get protected by her while she's sleeping next to you, you're dead automatically. And
the whole theme of those movies.
Nothing. There's no brains to this guy. You're saying Ash isn't smart? Yes, he might be incompetent in everything, but guess what? Sam Raimi said he might be incompetent, but the one thing he is competent in is killing demons. These people, Nada fights aliens in suits. Alice fights Freddy twice, and he still comes back later, and she doesn't come back because they didn't need her. She's worthless. Ash comes back every time, and regardless of what you think about his personality from the first to the second, it changes, and you get a completely different Ash who takes charge. And if I'm going to be in a room with one of these guys, it's Ash.
Who still doesn't give a shit about you and is going to end up killing you as a demon halfway through the movie. He just stumbles his way through. And Bill, the whole theme of the 2 Nightmare on Elm Streets that Alice was in was that everyone around her dies, just creating more adversity on her. So guess what? If you're with her, that's going to be you. At least with John Nada, if I die, I'm not just going to be a comical kill by Freddy or a weird demon joke. Corn syrup death. I'm not finished.
Okay. No,
at least if I die, I will die for the right cause, because we are going to go and stand up to those space Republicans that want us to obey and consumerize.
All right, so I notice you guys are dunking a lot on Alice. So here's the thing. At the end of 4, I believe Alice does end up saving Dan. So that's 2 people that survived that movie. And at the end of 5, she not only saves her friend Yvonne, she saves her father, and she saves her unborn child. How many of the main cast survived either one of your movies? I'm going to count on this hand how many that happened to. That's how many survived.
But we started a revolution, Bill. We started a revolution.
Yeah, but at the point, like, they're already so dug in, like, that's going to take forever. They also clearly control all the media. They control everything.
Now, again, you guys are arguing if everyone's... I did throw that all the people in Alice did die, but that's because she's a porthole for Freddy to come out. Ash, this isn't in Evil Dead. I'm not in Evil Dead. And this is just a horror movie situation. I'm going to take the idiot savant that the only thing he's good at is killing demons and evil spirits coming at me. That's the guy who's going to protect me. Not John Nada, not Alice. She's going to be sleeping, and that guy's going to be fist fighting with Keith David, not even worried about the aliens. That's how ridiculous it is.
Ash all right, so let's TJ, I want you to start making your final thoughts here. Final thoughts for Ash.
Yes. So basically, I'm saying if I'm taking the one person, the one hero that's going to sit there, and regardless if he gives a shit about me or not, he's not going to let these things come in and take him down. So if I'm in a shed and we're surrounded by evil beings that want the Necronomicon and we're doing the whole 9 and he's protecting me with his stuff and hitting me with all of his one-liners, I'm 100% in on that. John Nada is going to nothing but want to fist fight aliens in suits. And if he doesn't have his sunglasses, then what's he going to do? He can't see anybody. If he doesn't have the help from the rebellion, it's worthless. Again, Alice is just a manipulated thing from Freddy. That's the only thing that even though she has special powers like him, if she's asleep, he can come into the real plane world, just like she can go into his world. So her just being a portal for him is his suicide for you, sitting in a room trying to be protected by her.
Okay, Bill.
Okay, let's knock out some of these things right away. First off, Freddy does not use Alice as a portal to the real world. He uses Alice's unborn son, who spends 75% of his day in a dream state in part 5. Once he is born, that is over. And I didn't want to bring this up during the fight, but I feel like mentioning this right now. This is 80s horror. Statistically speaking, women have a much better chance of surviving than men, and that's just the law of average, #feminism. So I definitely want a woman on my team, and I want Alice. And I'm going to point this out that she has defeated Freddy twice. Not once, but twice. Here's how many people have done that. She not only defeated Freddy twice, she defeated Freddy twice in Freddy's house. No one has done that. Everybody has to figure out some way to trick him into the real world and try to get him to die. She went into his house and slapped him around. Ash caused the exact problem in both movies that he is now fighting. So I definitely don't want that level of incompetence laying around for me. And as far as Nada goes, if I'm not fighting the intergalactic alt-right, I don't know how this guy is going to be able to fight against demons that are going to be stronger. So immediately he's going to lose that fight. If he doesn't have a gun, like, this guy's kind of pointless. And he is basically the Jack Burton of this whole thing, where he's not really the hero. He's just kind of the guy that's along for the ride that stumbles ass backwards into all of this and still doesn't survive to the end. If I want to live to the end of my movie and I want to actually have a friend or two survive, which Alice has done, and neither one of these guys have not done, I'm going with Alice.
Okay, Tom, final thoughts.
All right, the best rebut I've heard about John Nada is the fact that if you pull him out of his movie, then he's basically useless. But hey, Bill, if you pull Alice out of Nightmare on Elm Street, guess what? You're just with a teenage girl. What's she gonna do against demons and people that aren't Freddy? And guess what? No one beats Freddy because she had to do it twice. Because Freddy keeps coming back. She failed, essentially. There was a Nightmare 6, by the way. So, Ash is not he's out there to keep himself alive, and that does not include you, TJ. Everyone around him dies. Everyone around him just becomes demons. He stumbles face first into everything. You're just some random guy that he doesn't give two shits about. So he'll sacrifice you at the first second just so he can survive. John Nada is clearly a man who has training, who actually gives a shit about other people. That's why, yes, he did get tricked by Meg a couple times. But that's also why he linked together with Keith David, because he actually cares about his compatriots, rather than Ash, who just doesn't give a shit, and Alice, who is just a teenage girl.
All right, well done, everybody. That was
just to be clear. I love all these movies. This was a really hard one for me.
Yeah, these were some fun picks. I want to go to Brian first. Brian, were there any facts that we want to check in this?
I mean, not really. I think the only facts that were getting thrown around were the release date of Army of Darkness. Right? There's not like a lot else. I don't think that
92, I believe.
Yeah, it's definitely in the 90s for sure. And that stupid rule is what kept me from picking my favorite choice, which would have been Marty, the stoner kid from Cabin in the Woods. That's my pick, just all time. But if I have to pick from the 80s, can I throw out Dr. Loomis, Donald Pleasance from Halloween 2, 4, and 5?
Nice.
I almost thought about that, but he's not really the hero. He's just kind of like the side role.
Oh, no, he's the hero.
On that note, Brian, I was damn close to picking Randy from Scream until this went 80s.
Right. Yeah, it's tough.
So, Kimber, tell us about socials. What are the people at home having to say?
Yeah, Sam at Sis Mary Elephant, he would have went with the Frog Brothers. They're a great choice from Lost Boys. Mm-hmm. And we also got some love for Ripley, of course. And then Kurt Russell's character from The Thing was David Bowman's choice. I wrote that I would probably try to get you to let me argue for Reanimator for Herbert West, but you could maybe argue that he's also kind of villainous in that movie.
Yeah, he plays both sides.
Yeah, that's definitely a gray area.
And I do have a poll when you're ready. And are we doing opinions on?
Yeah, that's where we're going to go next. Why don't we start with you? Who do you think won?
Okay, so there were some great moments in this fight. I got to give a shout out to Tom because he reminded me of myself with that "let me finish" moment. I've definitely been there, but I think everybody came down really hard on Bill in this round, and I think he was really good at defending himself. There is something to be said for not very much being thrown at Tom Zambeno's character for him to defend it all. So I think that he wasn't attacked that much, but Bill, for being attacked so much, was an excellent defender and had some really good points. So I was pushed towards Bill's side on this round.
How about you, Brian?
Yeah, I mean, one of the big things that was that I noticed in this round was like who was the best at like defending others, and none of them are good at it. They're all terrible, and everybody around them dies. So I felt like that was kind of a wash of a point. Mm-hmm. And I thought from the very beginning that Alice was an interesting choice, and I'm with Kimber. I think he defended it really well, and he had a lot to defend. But when it comes right down to it, like, you know, Ash is kind of like falls ass backwards into things, whereas, you know, she's much more proactive and she takes a leadership role and stuff like that. And I think he hit those points pretty well. So I'm going to have to lean toward Bill as well.
All right. So it falls down to me to decide whether you guys are right or wrong. And I don't think there will be too much disparity here. So I actually didn't know. I heard all the arguments. I think with Ash, I actually thought Ash took the most hits. Because I think he's the low-hanging fruit as far as like he's the obvious like fun choice and everybody would want to pick Ash. But I think that they really hit you like super hard. The Evil Dead being able to knock out Army of Darkness as a character development for the character was actually kind of handy for them, and I think that was a good ploy by both people. He's out for himself. You have to lock him in the basement. I wrote that down. I thought that was great. So for me, it fell more between Bill and Tom. And while I think that I liked Tom's whole like like we're fighting to start the revolution. I don't want to die for the revolution. And I think that in the end, you guys said no one survives in Alice's movie, and then Bill, I'm sorry I keep doing that, gave you like 4 examples. Dan survives, the kid, the father. So I heard rebuttals to that, and I think he fought the hardest for the person that you would think normally is like the worst choice, and she still has her dream powers even if she's pulled out of the specific Freddy world. So at the end of the day, I'm with you guys. Bill wins the point.
How? That's
Nice
I just didn't want
job.
to get shut out. I didn't want to get shut out, so I'm kind of glad.
I didn't think you had a chance in hell with that pick, but well done.
Yeah.
What did the social say for the vote?
So unsurprisingly, and I want to say thank you, David Bowman. He's been posting polls, and people have been voting on them there and tweeting them. So thank you very much for that. Unsurprisingly, people swept the poll with Ash. He's at 67%. Alice is at 33%, and then people don't know who John Nada is. So.
Go watch
They
They Live.
Nada points.
Go watch They Live. It's amazing.
You know what?
Shame.
That
Amount of votes.
breaks my heart. Internet, you lost.
And actually, I will say this, Tom, you would have had a better shot had you actually quoted the bubblegum line. I was just waiting for it the whole time, and it never came. I was a little disappointed that I didn't get my completion there. So as disgusting as that just sounded, we're going to move on to speed round number 2.
I just want to take a moment. I was really proud of my Space Republicans line. Okay.
No, that was great. That was great. It hit a little too close to home, but it was great. I don't think they're in space anymore. They're on Earth.
No, yeah.
They're here with us. And I'm sorry to our Republican viewers. Please keep watching and like and subscribe below. So let's go to our second voter. Who picked the first one? That was Bill?
I did.
So, Tom, we're going to go to you next. You get to pick speed round question number 2. Let me reread them for you. We have Candy for Daddy Day, Don't Go In There, Satan's Evening, and Caw-Caw.
God, I really have to pick this one. Brian, get your list ready. Candy for Daddy Day.
All right. Someone did it.
Oh, God. Paging to Catch a Predator.
Someone did it.
He's on the list.
Brian, what's the guy's name? Brian something from that show? We'll have to get him in here to read this question next. Okay.
To catch a predator.
To catch a predator. There you go. Thank you. So Candy for Daddy Day is actually much simpler than you ever thought. It's the best Halloween movie in the franchise.
First one.
Who said that?
That was me.
You have to say your name. Sometimes I'm not looking up, but I saw you this time.
Sorry, both.
What's the best Halloween movie in the franchise? Because Daddy gets all the candy because the kids get back with the candy. They're too young to eat all the candy.
Rob Zombie's Halloween.
Oh, you're gonna die.
Rob Zombies. Okay.
Okay, so now I just gotta find something for in the medium. Let's go H2O.
H2O.
No, man.
Nice. Well done. All right, guys. So I got Bill with Halloween 1, the original. Then Tom with Rob Zombie's version, and TJ with H2O. Bill, time begins when you start speaking. This is our most thoughtful crew.
I know. I'm sorry. Give me a sec.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
I will ASMR this episode because my voice can only really manage this volume.
In the first Halloween, John Carpenter basically delivered to us the slasher genre. This movie is on a shoestring budget. It is very taut. It is very lean, and it is a glorious masterpiece that every single film in this franchise has stumbled and failed to live up to. We are given Michael Myers, who is not yet the unkillable, godless, whatever he turns into in the rest of them, but he is also a credible threat. We have Jamie Lee Curtis, who arrives as like one of the Scream Queens. We follow her journey, and it is amazing. This movie is...
Tom.
So what Rob Zombie did with the Halloween franchise is he reinvigorated it and reminded people that this franchise exists. Yes, the first Halloween is great. I will not dismiss that. But Rob Zombie took Halloween and brought it into the 2000s. He made it more brutal. He made it more savage. Michael Myers becomes a force of nature rather than just some psychopath brother of Jamie Lee Curtis. He just brutalizes everybody in the movie. He brings it to the modern era and gives it to the modern
time. TJ H2O.
Tom, you're completely wrong. Halloween H2O reinvigorated the franchise after coming off of the 3, 4, 5, 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, one of those things that you actually get Jamie Lee Curtis back. You get into that 90s Kevin Williams who written Scream, Dawson's Creek. You get awesome teenage dialogue, which nowadays gets super credited because you can tell when teenage dialogue is super crappy. But H2O's dialogue is great. You get Heartthrob, Josh Hartnett. You get Jamie Lee Curtis basically doing the 20 years thing where she's preparing for Michael to come back, even though she doesn't know if it is the right way it's done.
Time. Bill, rebuttal.
All right, first off, I got to discount the Hellbilly version of Halloween. It gave us way too much of a backstory to a character I didn't need and I don't care about. I will just dunk on Kevin Williamson all day long. He has ruined that genre, and because of H2O, we got Resurrection, and Michael Myers fighting Busta Rhymes is the biggest insult to this entire franchise. Mine still stands, and they still can't beat it. Number one is still the best.
Tom.
Number one is great, and Halloween H2O is also a Halloween movie, but Halloween from Rob Zombie actually reinvigorated the franchise, made everyone remember Michael Myers. No one cared about Halloween H2O when it came out. No one cared. They gave us interesting backstory on how Michael Myers came to be. So Michael Myers
Time. TJ.
Just like the Joker, Michael Myers is not an origin story, especially Rob Zombie doing it and his gutter trash reason for having Michael Myers even go that way. When it comes to the first one, it's a good classic horror movie, but it's not great. It's slow. The kills are very mediocre and off camera. There's that weird car scene where the woman's getting strangled and the heavy breathing that you know that people are not too much.
Ooh, wow, this is going to be a lot tighter than I thought. Okay, guys. So I need some help, of course, from the checker guys. So, Kimber, why don't we start with you this time? Please.
Yeah, I thought they hit TJ pretty hard this time. So it was closer for me between Tom and Bill. But I think that Bill had more points that he was trying to get across with his. Like, Tom was very firm on his points. I was hearing him that it was reinvigorating the franchise. And I agree with him, actually. I think that when Rob Zombie is good, he's good. And I liked what he did there on the first one. But I was with Bill on this side, for sure.
How about you, Brian?
Yeah, I think there were points that Tom could have made that would have swayed me. I like the way Rob Zombie kind of encapsulated the whole franchise in his one movie. And it was like, despite the fact that he did go on to get a sequel, and that whole thing about getting a sequel to that movie also undercuts a little bit of Bill's argument about Resurrection. It's actually because Halloween H2O was good that we got Resurrection. It's not their fault that the movie made money. You know what I mean? And then the corporate execs decide to ruin it and make a crappy sequel to it. H2O stands up, and that's why I'm actually leaning more towards TJ. I thought he brought a lot of good points about the cast, about the thing that everybody's so excited about right now that they did 20 years ago by bringing back Laurie Strode and making her strong and giving her a second chance at Michael. And so, yeah, I was leaning toward TJ. So sorry I didn't make this one easy on you there, Jack.
No, you did not. For me, this also kind of came down between TJ and Bill for me. Tom, I didn't think you had a bad argument, but I did write down Halloween, it exists, in quotes, because that was how you opened it. It just started making me laugh. So I wrote that down. I actually don't hate that movie either. And I agree with Kimber. When Rob Zombie works, he does work. And that was a good offering, but I think the arguments really were strongest between Bill and TJ. Oh gosh, this was really, really close. I like TJ pointing out the writing because you have to compare to John Carpenter, who sort of godfathered this entire movie genre, which Bill does mention. It is genre defining, but I like how he presented a new argument for, like, oh, well, it changes with the times, and H2O does that. H2O does that. I don't think it's a bad movie at all. So it's really close for me. And I think in the end, Bill had the best chance here because all he had to do was fend off arguments against him. And I think TJ took too much of his time going after Tom, who wasn't in it for me. So by the time he got around to Bill, the time ran out on him and he didn't get enough hits in. So I think for me, Bill had the stronger arguments with more of the points. So Bill wins for me on that round.
All right, confession time. I have not seen Rob Zombie's Halloween.
It's not bad, but it's like solo. It's not. I don't need
First
to
20
know
minutes
how-
are good.
I've only
Nice.
seen one in H2O, and I was like, I don't remember shit from H2O, so I'm just gonna go for it.
That's fantastic.
I try to forget H2O mainly due to Josh Hartnett's hair because it's terrible.
Hey, did anybody on the internet pick a different Halloween?
No, there was just people's opinions about the ones that were chosen.
I figured as much, but I thought I'd check just in case.
Really, nobody went for 2.
Also,
Yeah.
I am a 3 apologist. We'll get into that later.
Oh, I legit like Halloween 3. I'm not an apologist. I just watched it last night and it's good.
Yeah, I really wish that's the way the series would have went, was a news story every Halloween, but whatever, we can get that's a whole other thing. So.
Well, let's do question 2 then. I need to know, Bill, who do you want to go first, second, and third?
Tom, TJ, then me.
Tom, TJ, Bill. All right. Question number 2. In TV or movies, which actor or actress played the best version of the devil? So you're going for the actor or actress here. Tom, you're going to start us off. Who'd you pick? And tell us a little bit about them.
All right, Bill. I think you did this strategically, so we dropped the bombshell initially because I'm going with the clear best choice here, and that is the great Dave Grohl from Tenacious D and The Pick of Destiny.
All right.
What Dave?
Tell us a little bit about it.
All right. What Dave Grohl did with all these choices are going to have a small amount of screen time because the character of Satan is best used in small parts. So Dave Grohl did the most with his amount of screen time, showing the multidimensional talents that make him such a great rock star and have transitioned perfectly onto the screen, where he takes the role of Satan and makes it his own. He really dives into this role, and not only does he sing and dance, which of course Dave Grohl can sing and dance, he brings the intimidation factor and the energy to outshine and out-energy Jack Black, who is one of the energy kings of Hollywood. He comes in there and shows up Jack Black, bringing an intensity and a gravitas to a movie that you did not expect. That this was a comedy right up until the point where Dave Grohl shows up, and it was still a bit comedic, but Dave Grohl brought the intensity and the gravitas to this role with his natural charisma and stage presence to crush a great actor like Jack Black and outshine him in Jack Black's own movie. He dominates that scene. He becomes a Satan that we rarely see, which is the heavy metal Satan, and rules that movie. Everyone remembers him, and that's why Dave Grohl is the greatest Satan.
Unless you like metal music, and then pretty much you've seen the metal Satan on every cover of every
Not
metal
that's
album.
not a movie, Jack.
That's right. Okay, TJ, who'd you pick?
I picked Peter Stormare, Constantine. So
Okay, tell us about it.
Yeah, so basically when it comes to having Satan Lucifer on screen, you can go the very generic way like my 2 combatants have done, or you can go something where the actor gets to really get into the skin of Lucifer. And what better guy to do that than Peter Stormare from Fargo? Like, you'll never ever think of a wood chipper any way the same way again. So when it comes to having Peter Stormare come down in his 4 minutes on screen of a long movie where he's also mentioned plenty of times, is because Keanu Reeves, Constantine, does not believe that his soul is good enough to go to heaven, so he knows he's going to be damned to hell to Lucifer. Sorry for the language, guys. But basically, you get this 4 minutes of the strongest presence on screen. And when I say strongest presence, you say Jack Black's presence is great. Yes, the guy is a great entertainer. But when it comes to acting, Tilda Swinton, there's not many people that are better. And guess who makes her look like nothing in this film? Peter Stormare's Lucifer, coming down in a white suit, piercing blue eyes, tarred feet, no shoes. You can just look at his skin and just see he's a virus. He's Lucifer in complete skin. And like, even his performance is holding something back, holding a beast back, from his face-to-face encounter with Keanu Reeves to his taking Gabriel, throwing cross, and burning angel wings. When it comes to the devil, Peter Stormare in his 4 minutes on screen dominates because you feel his entire presence throughout the entire film. So Peter Stormare is the best devil on screen.
Hey, great pick. And Bill.
I have gone with Robert De Niro in the very underappreciated Angel Heart. So if nobody's ever seen this, which is a goddamn shame, when you imagine a devil, and if I had to picture a devil, if he were to take a human form, I would picture Robert De Niro. Every scene he is in, and he is utilized very, very sparsely through that film. I think he's in a total of 15 minutes, 20 minutes tops. But every scene he is in, he is the coolest mother effer in the room. His suits are tailored. His hair is perfect. He has these like crazy long fingernails. He has this like crazy looking beard. This is exactly how I would picture Satan would be in real life. But he is calm. He never breaks a sweat. And he is always in charge. And at the same time, there is this underlying malice. Everything he is saying has weight and meaning. And you don't even realize it until you get to the end. And it's just incredible. It's one for the ages. It's a great character from one of our greatest living actors. And yeah, that's why I went with Robert De Niro.
Great, guys. Fight it out.
All right, I'm going to fire the opening salvo this time because I know you guys were about to jump. So I'm going to go directly after TJ here, where you say it was such a fantastic performance that overshadowed Tilda Swinton and everything. But in reality, all Stormare did was just play a Texas church pastor on heroin. And the hard feed, he just happened to walk through a Texas oil drill. So he was unintimidating. He was unintimidating, uninspired, boring. Oh God, was he boring? Just like the rest of that movie. All he was just a creepy church pastor. That's it. And as far as Robert De Niro in Angel Heart, God, was he sleepwalking through that performance. You have one of the greatest living actors on the planet and Robert De Niro, and he pulls just your generic crime boss. Oh, look, I'm pulling the strings. I'm a puppet master. He sat there, just the same voice, the same tone, in a boring... He brought more passion to Meet the Parents than Angel Heart.
Let's talk about Dave Grohl and his devil, bud. Let's talk about Tim Curry's little brother from Legend, who basically he stole the screen from Jack Black, but didn't Jack Black, which you're also leaving out his partner in Tenacious D. I'm sorry, I can't bring his name up, but you're also leaving that job. Who brings charisma. Yeah. They defeat him in the 4 minutes of him screaming. And also, mind you, sex slavery for Satan, very vanilla, super vanilla. So that to me is not a scary person. Now, Peter Stormare, you're saying it's a white suited, no, it's Euro trash. That's what he's going for. And that's what he's known to play. That's what he does well. So giving him the reins to do what he wants to do on camera and giving him the 4 minutes that he did that in is great. Robert De Niro, talk about generic. Yes, his beard is ridiculous. Also looks completely pasted on. The nails are... And if you give him a black suit with a red shirt underneath, you're just doing the very generic devil thing. And mind you, he's scarier in hide and seek and scarier in Goodfellas. You're talking about a presence. Robert De Niro in Angel Heart, like you said, no one's seen, so it's not very recognizable as the devil.
If I may now, since everyone decided to have a dunk on mine. Okay, let's talk about Dave Grohl, who is... His whole performance is basically joke fodder for a fake rock band. And the entire thing is built around gay panic jokes of him having sex with Kyle Gass. It is just uninspired. It is unoriginal. And I dare you to even name me one memorable line of dialogue Dave Grohl even has, because he doesn't. As far as Peter Stormare goes, this is every slimy, lecherous. I don't even think this guy can run a hostel, let alone hell. He can't even keep his own house in line. He is in control of nothing. He is giving off this creepy, touchy uncle vibe. It is just the whole thing doesn't work in a movie that doesn't work. And he is just the nail in the coffin. As far as Robert De Niro goes, every scene he is in control. He has already outsmarted you. He has already won before we even get to anything else. He already has the upper hand. He doesn't need to get his hands dirty. You are doing all of his work for him. Not so with these other two guys. They have to come up and they have to do it themselves, and they are bad at it.
Jack, may I have permission to accept Bill's challenge and start singing some of Dave Grohl's lines?
Oh, no, because we'll get sued. We'll get sued, and the video will get pulled down, and it won't be nearly as good anyway as Dave Grohl. So let's just go ahead.
What if I say them? Can I curse?
You can loosely quote them, but do not curse heavily.
Let's see. I can't wait to take Cage back to hell. Going to fill him with my hot demon soap?
Sure.
More gay panic jokes. Great.
That's great. Now, when it comes to memorable lines, can you do one from Angel Heart for me, Bill? Because if you can, I can do one from Constantine right now, unless you're looking at some Google quotes. Other than that, I can do, "You will live, John Constantine." And he pulls the cancer from John Constantine to prove that Constantine soul will eventually belong to him. That's Lucifer. When you're saying it's like an uncle or kid toucher, that's supposed to be the devil. He's supposed to give up these vibes. He's not supposed to look like the guy in the club hitting on the 20-year-old girls like Robert De Niro, or look like David Grohl was in devil makeup. Yes, it's fun. It's a fun 4 minutes, a cool song, but it's not the best devil on screen.
I have to say on your Peter Stormare thing, he did not technically win. Yes, he pulled out Constantine's cancer, but that does not ensure that his soul will belong to him. He already made the sacrifice that was clearly about to bring him to heaven. He was going to die. All he did was just delay his trip to heaven. He doesn't know who Constantine is. He doesn't ensure shit except for that Constantine's going to live for a little bit longer. And as far as whether Dave Grohl was defeated or not, keep in mind, the devil from that film was never actually defeated. He merely goes back to hell until he is once again complete. He was defeated back in the ancient times by the blacksmith, but he came back, and he does take on a mortal soul in Paul F. Tompkins' character in order to make himself complete and bring out the final form of Dave Grohl as Satan, where he brings more energy, more passion, and more intensity than these others, where Peter Stormare may have gone for Eurotrash, but he hit Texas Oil Tycoon real hard. He was just a heroin addict in a white suit.
I love the line, the final form of Dave Grohl.
Yeah, the final form of Dave Grohl is discount Tim Curry's cosplay. Okay, that's fine.
Tim Curry wishes he were Dave Grohl. He wishes
oh my God! Shut your mouth!
Yeah, I said it. I said it.
And not to mention, I need to point out one thing.
It's a 2-man race now.
Yeah, it is.
I gotta figure out. Right. Okay. And you know what? The Pick of Destiny is a fine movie. I love that movie. I love Jack Black. I love it. That's fine. But I wrote down here. I just want to point out the sentence "great actor" and Jack Black never be uttered in the same sentence ever.
Whoa.
He is fine, but he is definitely a one-trick pony, which is what the Dave Grohl
really go watch Bernie and tell me he's a one-trick pony.
Oh yeah, I'll do it. That's fine.
Yeah, we're getting way off topic.
But no, we got to talk about Dave Grohl and just what a terrible. I don't want my devil to be the punchline of like gay jokes and just terrible. And he did lose because he went back to hell. And so did Peter Stormare. This guy couldn't even keep his own son in line. His own son is outsmarting him. I don't believe that this guy can run hell, let alone even run this guy can't run an insane.
But you're telling me that your devil, who is going after a guy named Angel, watch out, everybody. If you didn't realize, he's called Angel. He's going after a guy named Angel. He's the devil. It gives it away. You're saying that he plays it off like it is so the devil and so ridiculous. And Cia De Niro.
Yeah, but you even just said it. He is the devil. He is memorable after all of these years.
He's not memorable. He's cast as devil. So know what he does? He does I'm the devil. Like that's Robert De Niro. I'm telling you, he has a bigger presence in movies where he's not explicitly evil, like Goodfellas. That guy was just a gangster. Like it wasn't necessarily evil, but that one scene where he tries to trick Henry's wife and go into the alley, that's scary. Him as the devil in Angel Heart, not at all. Peter Stormare, absolutely, in the 4 minutes against Keanu Reeves' wooden performance is what made that movie not so great. But if you go back and rewatch it, it's actually a pretty good performance.
And I did go back and rewatch it, and it's just he is hamming it up so hard. Peter Stormare devours the scenery as opposed to chewing it. All right, he is way overdoing it, and he is way over the top.
I want to start moving us towards final thoughts. So here's what we're going to do. Tom, I'm going to start with you. Why don't we get your final thoughts in? Why did you pick the best Satan? And you guys will have a chance to finish off this argument at the end here.
All right, I'm just going to pick up the ball that Bill dropped right there, that poor Stormare was hamming up, in the fact that in a competition where we have a rock star in makeup making gay jokes, somehow is the least ridiculous performance out of the three, considering we just have the obvious analogy of Louis Cypher, with a dude with long fingers, and name is Louis Cypher, and Stormare just being the insane heroin addict creepo that he was in Constantine. Dave Grohl brought a presence. He changed the game of the movie. All Stormare did was just limp us to the finish, whereas Dave Grohl took the finish by the horns, yes, devil joke, and slammed that movie home, made it a great movie, made it memorable, whereas the other two were just wooden, boring, or creepy.
TJ.
Okay, so we're saying hamming it up. So we're saying we're going to give an actor the reins to play Lucifer that no one really has a hold on knowing what that person is unless you're entirely religious, but that's another thing. So what you do is you go generic with De Niro with a guy in a suit and a red shirt, long fingernails, and slick back hair, probably has a cane. Does he have a cane? Probably has a cane. Or you stick
have a cane.
bunch of red makeup with a horse bottom and fangs, and that's what you do. Or you give an actor like Peter Stormare, who you guys are saying at one point you said he was stiff, and then at another point you said he's hamming up. Like, pick one or the other. This guy's doing what Lucifer in this movie do. The moment that he has his face-to-face with Keanu, and Keanu tells him what Gabriel's doing, trying to bring back Mammon, and he breaks through that glass slowly and walks through the glass and bare feet with the tar coming down. Just the visuals of that, and him coming down and giving you the archangel vibe of what Lucifer really is, that's the best devil. Giving an actor like Peter Stormare, who you're saying is creepy or a heroin addict or looks that way, there's a reason why he looks that way, because he's the devil. And that's why he's the best on screen compared to these two. A very slick back, 80s De Niro doing the De Niro thing, or Dave Grohl in makeup singing. Like, that's it, guys. That's not good devils on screen.
Bill.
Okay. I've said all I need to say about Dave Grohl. That's not even like it is a joke performance. It is a one-note joke at best, and it is very unmemorable. And I won't even waste any more time on that. Now, as far as Peter Stormare, I'm the one that says he's hamming it up. I did not say stiff. He is definitely not stiff, but his performance is so hammy, I might as well glaze it and cook it and put it on my table for Thanksgiving. It is just laughably bad. As far as De Niro, you guys can dunk all day long, but there's a reason why this guy's got the hardware to prove why he's one of the best actors in the game. His performance is subtle. It is nuanced. Not to mention, we get to the Dave Grohl devil that enters into an agreement with Tenacious D. That devil loses, and loses comically bad. We have Peter Stormare, who gets outsmarted by Constantine, loses, and is basically almost outsmarted by his own son. This guy can't keep his house in order, let alone run hell. My guy, he has already won when the movie has started. You don't even realize it, and he is giving you all the rope in the world to hang yourself with it. That is smart, that is cunning, and that is malice, and that is menacing. And as far as memorable lines go, the entire scene in the diner with the egg, where he is describing everything, and it's just such a wonderful metaphor for him picking away at Mickey Rourke's soul and just devouring it in front of him, just letting him know, I got you. You don't even know it. And that is definitely why Robert De Niro, hands down, slam dunks, hits 500 home runs in a row with this performance.
You can't play.
All right.
Back check, goat bottoms, not horse bottoms.
So, Brian, you have any facts you'd like to share with us for this wonderful fight? That was a good fight, guys.
There's at least
Nice
one important fact, and that is that it's pronounced Peter Stormare, just in case anybody was wondering.
Oh,
yeah,
Interesting.
that's a real thing.
I did not know that.
From a foreign land.
Yeah.
Aside from that, I mean, there's not a lot of fact checking really to go on in this one too much that I can think of.
Well, let me hit with social first, and then we'll come back to you to find out what you thought. Kimber, what did social guys have to say?
Here's some facts. Tenacious D in the Pick of Destiny is awesome, and this whole round wounded me deeply. There are some great suggestions. Sam chimes in with that he would have went with Meryl Streep in The Devil Wears Prada. We've got some love for the robot devil from Futurama. I sent some love to Mark Pellegrino's performance, which is now, 10 seasons long on Supernatural as Lucifer. That's who I would have picked. And Bedazzled, it's pretty endless. Everybody had some great choices.
Brian, you had a good choice too. Who did you pick when we were talking about this?
And I think they got name dropped in here too. I thought Tim Curry from Legend was a classic, but I'm a little too close to this one because Peter Stormare is pretty high up there for me, so it's hard for me to be objective. But one thing I will say about TJ's argument that I thought was really good is he hit home how Peter Stormare's devil stands out. He's very different from any other performance we've ever seen, and I think the guys were trying to hit on that as a negative, but I like what Peter Stormare does with that role, and I like that it's something we've never seen before. Also, I saw other people on Twitter mentioning it, and I would have hit Bill with, he's not even the best devil in a suit, man. Al Pacino from Devil's Advocate is the best devil in a suit. Like, hands down, he does the same thing as Angel Heart, where he's already won at the beginning and you don't even know it. I mean, it's the better pick. I'm sorry.
So who are you going with, Brian?
I think I'm gonna lean toward TJ on this one.
Okay.
But like I said, it's hard for me to be objective because I already have affection for that character.
Right.
But I liked his argument. I tried to like establish why I thought he took the nod for me.
Kimber?
Okay, so while I 100% love Tom's choice, and that's gonna, I'm not gonna let that affect my decision here in any way other than I cannot pick Bill when he has said these things that hurt me so deeply on this round. So I am dead inside, and I'm picking TJ.
All right. So will your deadness, if that's a word, affect the outcome of this fight? One of the devils that I really like was Viggo Mortensen in The Prophecy. So I just wanted to throw him out there too. That was a really cool role. It's one of the first places I've actually seen him as an actor, and I love that movie. So that's my choice. No one picked it, so I can't be biased. When it comes down to arguments, we already know how Tom disqualified himself, but I'll just say it's between TJ and Bill. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, Tom. Actually, you had a great argument. I just think that they really came after you pretty hard with the language used for the comedy, as well as the vanilla nature, sort of the expected nature of him as. I
did forget to give Tom a nod for mentioning the Lewis Cipher thing. I was really waiting for somebody to hit that note because that is so stupid. That's like the stupidest goddamn thing. So sorry, I meant to say that.
It's all good. So for me, it did fall down between TJ and Bill. What I really liked about TJ's arguments was, how he talked about the visual design as well as the performance, and gave us some specific scenes that really sold why the role of Peter in that was stronger for his movie. And then I liked Bill, selling me De Niro. Because that is all the things you get from De Niro. But I think for me, at the end of the day, I hear that De Niro's sleepwalking through it. He's a crime boss like we haven't seen that before from De Niro. It's kind of like every De Niro role that we do see, and I think that does diminish it a little bit. And I think TJ really hit hard on the uniqueness of the role for him. So I also lean for TJ. TJ gets the point.
Woo!
Well done. So no one's getting shut out today, and I'd love to hear the poll, Kimber.
Yeah, it's 50-50 for Grohl and Stormare.
Nice. Oh, screw you, Internet.
Nice.
I'm sorry you can't handle complex movies.
I had the feeling I was going to go down, but I was going to have a lot of fun doing it.
No, it was a good fight. That was very well done. So, guys, we're going to move into our final two rounds here. This one's really important. We have a special mystery fight today, so you want to win this speed round. And that means, TJ, you are going to get to pick the category leading into the speed round here. So we have 3 categories left. We have Satan's Evening, Caw-caw, and Don't Go In There.
What was the second one again? I'm sorry.
Caw-caw.
I'm going to go with Caw-caw.
Yeah, so when I made that
I was going to be really disappointed if nobody picked Caw-caw.
Right? So I made that question, and then my voice went kind of today, and I'm like, I'm going to have to keep doing this damn noise because they're going to make it go to the end. So Caw-caw is the question, or the category. Who should play Eric Draven in a Crow remake now that what's-his-face is no longer part of it? Aquaman.
Jason.
Khal Drogo. That guy. He's no longer in it. And I've forgotten his name completely. And
Jason
Brian's
Momoa.
not helping me. Jason Momoa. Thank you.
I'm sorry. I thought you were doing a bit.
No, I forgot his name.
Oh, my God.
Keanu Reeves.
Damn you.
You've been pissed at every choice he's made.
I am sorry.
Cillian Murphy. I might have said his name wrong, but
Who?
28 Days Later, Cillian Murphy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Cillian
Scarecrow.
Murphy.
Sure.
Yeah.
Christian Bale.
Ugh.
Okay, Tom does not know me very well.
Dev Patel. Oh, I don't get to be in this round.
Gotta take a personal opinion out of here, Jack.
No, I will. I will be objective. I'm just joking. Okay. I'm just joking. All right, so let me just grab the stopwatch here, and we are ready to go. So, Bill, you're first whenever you're ready.
In the John Wick movies, they finally figured out to make a good action star, you take a good actor and make him fight. And that's what they did. And that is what we need from a performance in The Crow. Somebody that can handle himself, but at the same time can drive home the human emotion and make us empathize with that character. Keanu Reeves has proved that time and time again in these series, and he can definitely bring it to this. There will be like a human element, but at the same time, I need to be afraid of this guy, and I need to know that he can handle the room, and I know he can lay waste to everybody in front of him, and it's definitely going to be Keanu Reeves if we give him this role. I think he's more than earned it, and he has come a long way.
Okay, give me 1 second here. All right. TJ, you're next.
Man, I really hope I'm not killing his name. I'm just going to call him Cillian Murphy for the time being. But this guy puts out, you're going to put someone in makeup, so you got to have someone that has the emotion, the face to put this out. This guy playing this Scarecrow in Batman and just him questioning the mob boss and getting with the mask on. You can get him doing that. You get someone who can deliver morphine is bad because you know they're going to put that in the movie. So you need someone who can deliver that, have the gravitas like he had in 28 Days Later to go from a weak person to a really strong person at some point in the film, because the end of 28 Days Later, he's kicking ass. So you need someone who can do that and switch from someone who was in love and can take that love.
Tom, Christian Bale.
All right, so if you absolutely have to remake a classic movie, the one thing you've got to do is you got to differentiate it from the original. The original was a great movie, but you have to bring essentially what is a darker tone, was a more dark, gritty tone, and Christian Bale is already going to bring that to you. Crow's already a Batman-like character, so guess what? Christian Bale already done that before. He's already gone behind a mask. He knows how to do it. He's one of the best working actors today. And he is going to bring the gravitas, the pain, the anguish as a human, as well as
Time. You win the award for saying gravitas the most times in a fight.
I like that word.
Bill, 20-second rebuttal.
I don't believe Cillian Murphy is credible as a threat in a fight. That guy is way too rail thin. I just don't buy him as a superhero. As far as Christian Bale, yeah, he can handle a fight, and yeah, he is a good actor, but I don't think he's right for this part. And it clearly shows that anytime he does anything outside of his wheelhouse, he kind of fumbles. That as a part he will fumble. Keanu Reeves is born for this role. Yeah, he is.
Time. TJ.
When it comes to Keanu Reeves playing this role, it's the exact same thing as John Wick. It's almost the same thing as Constantine. You're going to get the same thing with this to do the exact same thing. When it comes to Tom's pick, which I can't, Christian Bale, he's going to do the Batman voice. It's going to annoy everybody. Cillian Murphy can fight. If you can get someone like Christian Bale to buff up and be Batman, you can get Cillian Murphy to do the exact same thing. It's not hard to make an actor learn a couple fights and get beefed up to play the part. Not even it. Damn it.
Tom.
All right, first off, Christian Bale is definitely not going to end up doing the Batman voice as a directorial choice, not a personal choice. That's not assured. So essentially, two other picks with Keanu Reeves and Cillian Murphy, they're great picks if you just want to do the exact same thing as The Crow before. If you want to bring something new to The Crow, which is more of a dark, which is more even darker than the original, which is more brutal, you're going to bring Christian Bale. He's going to bring the intensity.
All right. I'm definitely going to need some help with this one. Let's go with Brian first. What did you think of the arguments, and who would you pick?
I personally think The Crow has more emotional depth than somebody like Keanu Reeves can deliver. I think he is really good at being a stone-faced killer in action movies and like being being John Wick. But the core of The Crow is like stems from a place of emotional trauma, and I don't know if he can convey that in a way that somebody like Cillian Murphy or Christian Bale can. Obviously, on the acting spectrum, I really like Cillian Murphy as a pick, and I wish that TJ knew more about Peaky Blinders, where he plays a super badass tough guy and fucks people up all the time and is super physical and is like shredded. So, but he didn't. That's not part of his argument. He didn't bring that up. So I'm going to push that to the side and look at it right down the middle. But even with that taken away, I like the kind of the idea of like that more vulnerable at the beginning and then toughening up by the end that he brought in. I do think that Christian Bale has the emotional range, like I said before, but again, that's too close to the superhero thing, and I just don't feel like he would. I don't know. He just doesn't do it for me. So I gotta go TJ.
Okay, Kimber.
Yeah, I think that we got to remember about The Crow is that it's kind of a modern day gothic romance. And I do also think that Cillian Murphy is a great choice for this, because this isn't a guy who was like a bodybuilder. This is a dude who was like singing or whatever in a band and like lost his love of his life and turned into kind of like a vigilante type character. And I think out of these three choices that Cillian Murphy is the one who could do that. And I think that TJ had a really strong argument throughout. I see what the other guys are doing. They picked action stars, but I think that this was an out-of-the-box decision that paid off. Also, Cillian Murphy looks a little bit like my fiance, so I'm picking him.
Oh, and then suddenly we know the truth. Tom is Cillian Murphy. For me, yeah, I have sort of very similar feelings here. I actually don't hate the Christian Bale pick. I think that Brian's point, though, of Christian Bale sort of being Batman, and we kind of expect that. I do appreciate that you use the word gritty, especially since you're a Flyers fan. So that was a nice way of working that in. Check out who Gritty is if you haven't seen, and you'll understand why he's perfect for the Crow.
He's amazing.
He's a national treasure. He's a national
I don't know.
Gritty.
I'm from Philly. I don't know what we're doing as a fandom anymore, but hey, great. We have a fanatic. He makes sense. So there you go. I like how, he's not going to do the voice, and that's a directorial choice. I thought that was a great argument for why Bale could still do the role. And I also like how you said it's going to be dark, and then you're like, okay, well, darker, because the Crow, as we know, is very dark. And then Bill, one of the things you said that I really liked was handle the room. I quoted that Keanu Reeves can handle the room. Does he present fear? I don't know if necessarily fear, but he definitely has the acting and actor chops. But I do like how TJ mentioned that it is sort of the same as we've seen before. I think at the end of the day, I think TJ really handled the argument the best, giving us someone we don't expect, someone who can handle the role. He argued why being thinner isn't a bad thing and why we can see that transformation during the movie. And I thought it was sort of an out of the box, unexpected choice that was argued well. So TJ, you get the point. Well done.
Oh, right.
All right. So that means, Bill, you have 2. TJ, you have 2. Tom, you only have 1. However, this is a 2-point round. Everyone's in it. No one is out. This is going to be fun. I'm going to get a new piece of paper because I'm going to need it. All right. We're going to start with this. I'm doing a new thing here, so forgive me if I mess up the ordering a little bit. But question 3, before we choose who goes when and where, I would like to remind everybody what the question is. So we're going to have each of the fighters choose a horror movie villain champion to fight with them in this round. So TJ, you won. Tell us who you picked as your movie villain champion, horror movie villain champion.
Pennywise, aka It.
All right. Bill, who'd you pick?
Tom, I'm sorry. I picked Christine, the car.
Which is amazing to me that you didn't pick it yourself, Tom, as the car guy on the show.
1 second, I turn my TV off because Christine was just on.
But fantastic choice. And then Tom, who did you pick?
As Jack so delightfully pointed out, I was not going to pick Christine anyway, so I'm going to go with The Thing.
All right. So those are our villains. We have Pennywise.
The 1980s thing to be
79, I think, actually, but I know what you mean. Kurt Russell.
No, it was 80.
That one. Is it 80?
Yeah, it's like 80, 81 around there. Yeah.
I don't fact check my own show. All right. So Pennywise, Christine, and The Thing are the choices. Here's how this is going to work. TJ, since you won the round, the fight is actually going to be you're going to pitch a movie, and that it's going to be a brand new movie, and the villain is going to be the villain you chose. But who's going to be the hero? Well, we have to go all the way back to round 1 because TJ, you are going to pair up everyone's villain with one of the heroes chosen from round 1. And you get to pick who they are. So first, who would you like to Pennywise to go up against as the hero?
Pennywise is going to go against John Nada.
Okay. Who is the Thing going up against?
Alice.
And Christine then will be going up against Ash for Bill. So guys, you are going to pitch a movie. Give me a title of it eventually. Starring your hero and your villain duking it out. Give us a brief idea of what the movie is going to be about. Don't get don't devil in the details, so to speak. So we're going to TJ, who goes first, second, and third?
Tom's going to go first. Bill will go second, and I'll go last.
All right. So we'll give you guys a moment to think about what you want to do. Kimber, what's going on Odd Shape Channel? Anything fun you want to talk about?
Yeah, sure. Tomorrow, we're continuing our American Horror Story Apocalypse recap show with episodes 5 and 6. We're doing them 2 at a time. So that's at the usual time that we would have OSP, which is 9. Actually, do that an hour later, right? So I guess it's 10 Eastern Standard. We're going to be doing that. And then the following week, at the regular time for OSP, we have our 3rd annual Odd-Shaped Panel Halloween costume party. So I can't believe it's the 3rd one already.
That's awesome.
Crazy.
That's great.
But if you guys, especially TJ, since he's already all dressed and ready, and I know he has a
He's
costume.
just gonna still be wearing that. He's not even gonna take it off.
No. We'll be doing that, and it should be a lot of fun. And also, I'm looking for questions. So if you guys want to tweet me any Halloween pop culture questions, you can tweet me at kimberbatch_OSP.
Awesome. Guys, please check it out. Ache channel is really awesome. She does it with her future husband, Tom, and it's a lot of fun. They have their own channel. They started here with us, and they do a great show. So definitely check them out. Brian, we'll get to you in a little later. Let's get ready to start the fight. So, Tom, if you are ready, you don't really have a choice. Tell us about your movie, The Thing versus Alice Johnson.
Okay, that's not going to be my title. We'll get to that one later. But so for those who haven't seen The Thing, first off, go see The Thing. It's fantastic. But the whole basis of The Thing is that it is an alien from another world that lands on our world and slowly begins imitating everything from our world. So sort of a invasion of the body snatchers type creature. So this time, instead of landing in Somewheresville, Antarctica, it lands in Springwood. So if for those who don't know, that's the city that Elm Street is on, and basically ends up in Alice's hometown. Now, The Thing, we're going to start with the fact that this thing is obviously integrating with the world. So The Thing has already begun to take onto animals, just like it did at the beginning of the movie, where it takes shape of family pets, and that's how it integrates it, how it gets itself into households, and that's how it begins to get itself into Alice's household specifically. So it starts with her family. Let's call it a dog. She's got a dog now. So the dog has been acting strange lately. So they take it to the vet. The vet goes to examine the dog. See its vitals are off the charts. What's going on here? So and then the dog just dies. It just dies. So cuts the dog open, very curious as to what's happening. Just like the climactic scene of The Thing, that's when the dog just bursts open, just like the 1980s film, grabs the doctor, biting off his hands, beginning to make its way into humans now by infecting the doctor. So now it begins with the veterinarian.
1 more minute.
Okay. So we're going to start hurrying this along here. So as it starts integrating, obviously the cops are called. The cops they don't know what to do here because there's this dog that essentially chopped this man's arms off. And that's when you have your military come in, and a military officer comes by and says, "Guys, we have to take you back to our base right now." So they bring Alice and her family back and explain to them what's happening. That this thing is trying to invade this world. They notice this in Antarctica, so we're going to flash back to The Thing, but without actually making it a sequel. They notice this weird thing in Antarctica as it starts to integrate. So so they need to try and figure out how to defeat this. So she's going to team up with the military doctor played by 1980s Jeff Goldblum, because of course this is all occurring in the 80s. To figure out
I'm going to time you here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop you there. Think about any other things you want to add in during the actual fight itself. But I want to make sure everybody has a chance to tell their stories. So we're going to go next to Bill, Christine versus Ash. And I'll come back for your title too, Tom.
Okay.
Oh, shit. We need a title. Right. Oh, my God. Okay.
Go for it.
Okay. At the end of Army of Darkness, Ash, our reluctant comical hero, as his potion to get back to the real world, back to his own time. He goes into a cave. He says the wrong words. He ends up in a 1950s auto plant in Detroit. And what does he accidentally do? Puts the soul of Christine into the car itself. This is now a backdoor prequel to that movie. So the entire movie involves with him accidentally unleashing this force of Deadites that are now driving away with the book in the car. Ash has to try and stop it, which he doesn't. So his only clue, his only real task is to, since he can't actually defeat it, find somebody with the know-how and trick it into the future by accident, leading into the events of the first Christine. So that is my movie.
So it's a prequel.
It's a prequel to.
It's a prequel crossover.
Prequel crossover, yes. Okay. And and it's the Deadites outsmarting Ash with a unstoppable killing murder machine of a car. So
and all the timelines. So we're maintaining the timelines of both series. So Ash's series and on Christine. Okay.
So at the end of that, Ash sends the car into the 80s where Richie finds it, and that becomes his car. And Ash ends up back at the S-Mart, and not knowing about the events of Christine. So both of those movies stay intact. Well, I have a fun little side quest for the entire thing.
Great. Do you have a title?
Not yet, but I'm working on it.
Okay. TJ, you're Pennywise versus John Nada. Go for it whenever you're ready.
I'm going to need everyone just to close your eyes for a second and just imagine yourselves. You're John Nada. You're a vagrant. You're homeless. You're walking up the East Coast, maybe Holiday Road's playing as the screen comes from a long shot into him, going across a mountaintop road. Car pulls over, gives him a ride. Where are you going, John? Oh, no. Take me north. Where's the farthest north you're going? We're going to Derry, Maine. I'll go. We'll do it. So John Nada goes to Derry, Maine, gets dropped off at the very border of the town because he doesn't want to just start in the mid. He wants to walk his way in and get a whole range of the view. He's got his sunglasses on. He's looking around. He's crossing over the Kissing Bridge. He looks down from the Kissing Bridge, and he sees an alien through his sunglasses. But this alien is projecting itself from one to another to another. Now, if anyone has never read It, I'm sorry, I'm going to get a little spoilers here. It is a being from a void in the universe known as the Macroverse. So he's from space. So what we don't realize is John Nada thinks that he has left everything from They Live behind. Everyone thinks he passed and died, but no, he didn't. He's still alive. John Nada is going strong. He's going by a new name now. No, though. He's going by Gabe Me. That's his new name, Gabe Me. And now
M-E?
Gabe Me is going through the town.
Okay.
He goes to the Derry High School game. He just wants to take in the game. He's got a little bottle of Jack with him. He's watching the game, and he sees that this one kid is running around the back of the field by himself. He's being chased by something, but you can't see what it is. Guess what he has to do is put his sunglasses on at night, and that song plays in the background at the same time. This is an 80s movie, guys, if you haven't noticed. This movie all takes place in the 80s. So that starts playing in the background, but he can see a giant dog with the face of the alien that he always sees in his sunglasses. So he's realizing, like, why is there only one, but it's taking all these different forms? He confronts a dog, and it turns itself into Pennywise the Clown. They have a nice back and forth. Pennywise tells him about his Republicans that he left were in Detroit, where John Nada was, and he left them all there.
You
but
had 1 minute.
Stuff around. So there's a nice combined universe in They Live and this film. So John Nada is trying to get the town to go, but obviously we know, and all the adults in Derry, Maine don't believe anything and don't see what these kids are seeing. Only John Nada and his sunglasses and the kids, the group of kids that he gets together, that we come to find out is Bill Denborough, Stanley Uris, Beverly Marsh. He gets together with the Losers Club. They use his brute force to take them down into the sewers. Now, mind you, John Nada's going to die real quick, but he gives the courage and the power to these kids to finally take down Pennywise in this film. Now, when he does that, he shows the kids that this being and these aliens live off fear. Don't fear this. And he gives them the most insane speech ever that involves gum and kicking ass. And these kids are like, you know what? You're right. And then John Nada gets stabbed right in the back when he does that and passes away. And that's where you get the scene where Beverly and the kids finally take down this alien. The movie's called...
So that's great. But do you have the title? Go ahead. Throw the title.
The movie's called It Lives.
All right, great, guys. Fight it out. Who has the best pitch?
Me.
Why is your pitch the best?
So, Bill, what is your movie? Basically, Ash just unleashes a Deadite, and then it gets pushed into the future, and he's done with it, and he doesn't verse it at all?
No. You clearly were not listening when I was pitching my movie. Yeah. So here's how that all works. Ash, at the end of Army of Darkness, says it's a little potion, but he says it wrong because he always does, because that's the Ash we come to expect. And he accidentally ends up in the 1950s, where because of just happenstance and him having the book, he accidentally creates Christine, and which sets off the events of this film, where it's Ash trying to fight Christine and the Evil Dead. That's my movie.
What is
Christine and the Evil Dead versus Ash.
So TJ, now I have to follow your question to Bill with the exact same question to you. What exactly is it a sequel to They Live, or is it?
It also sounds like he's getting punked out pretty quick by a clown in a sewer.
Well, it's John Nada, so he wasn't a good hero to pick in the first place. But with that, he has his sunglasses, which help him with the kids see the alien, obviously, because only kids can see it, because he portrays the fear for the kids that he feeds off of. Now, when it comes to Christine, wouldn't it have been a better pick if you put the Delta and Ash's Delta up against Christine? Because Ash versus Christine doesn't really make any sense. And then when it comes to The Thing, and you just retelling almost the same movie, but it's not the Antarctic because there's a dog, and it gets killed, and that's a thing. Like what's your movie?
My movie is a emotional sequel to The Thing, not a direct sequel, whereas you're just sequeling off They Live, so don't come at me with same movie all over again. So essentially my movie, yes, it's a retelling of The Thing, but that's exactly what it is, a retelling. These things have evolved now. That's what the military doctor Jeff Goldblum, that's what the doctor Jeff Goldblum is explaining to both the military and Alice, is that these things have evolved to be able to take all of the fire and all the heat weapons that we were using on them back in Antarctica. These things have evolved, and but we have not been able to figure out and harness what exactly is their weakness. And that's when Alice figures out, oh, well, we were just watching a movie earlier and the dog was freaking out. That's why we got worried. He seemed sick and we took him to the vet. That's when they figured out that sound is the thing that is going to defeat them. Now, yes, that sounds a little like symbiotes. I will admit that. But
so you just pitched Venom.
I mean, the whole thing we're missing out of all these arguments is the
better
Venom. So now I have Nada and the Losers Club basically versus it. Nada does go down early, but Nada is the person who inspires them to be brave and to throw all their fear away with his inspirational speech.
And that's the problem with your movie. You totally negate the kid's journey by having him be the one. Yeah, they need to be the ones that actually overcome their own journeys throughout. I don't need Roddy Piper coming in roids and like ruining this dramatic moment for them. Like, I'm sorry.
But you took the good part of it and took it away.
Hold on one second. To have these kids finally have an adult that believes them after months of these kids being tortured by this Pennywise, and finally a gentleman who looks like Roddy Piper, a Jack gentleman that you said himself, comes into town and he's got a shotgun across his chest. These kids are like, this guy believes us and he sees it?
Oh, not to mention there's a spell in the town, so all the adults, he'll get lulled in with them.
It's like having Sloth in the Goonies. You can't take those kids' journey away just because they have Sloth. Like, he is there to help them.
But he's there from the beginning. You are now inserting him to help them out, and that
have you ever seen
robs the kids of their agency.
Have you seen the Goonies? Sloth is
yes, I have.
Okay, regardless, I digress.
Now, as far as the other movie, Tom's movie, basically The Thing again. And you know what? I already got The Thing again with the woman lead. It was called the prequel to The Thing, and it was garbage.
No, and
we don't need any more things. I'm sorry. You could have thought of something else, but you're just handing me the same movie again. And that movie is terrible.
I want to hear the verses of Alice versus The Thing. So how does Alice and The Thing actually go toe to toe? That's what I want to know in this film. I don't want to say it's The Thing remade because that's easy.
So it's not. I'm not pitching some sort of brutal battle where Alice just gets knocked off like Nada or fights a random car, which, by the way, Bill, yes, we're getting The Thing again, but we never needed Christine the first time, so kind of step back there, pal. So what we're doing here is a mental battle rather than the physical, because obviously you're putting a teenage girl against a fucking alien. She's not going to defeat him. So she's the one that helps them figure out that it is the sound and it's a specific pitch that is going to destroy them. And that's when Jack, are we going to be pitching end scenes? Because I don't want to blow that.
You can spoil your movie that's never being made if you want to.
Yeah, I just wanted to save it for final thoughts. If that would.
Well, you're welcome to do that. I still want the title of your movie though.
Can I do that in final thoughts?
Yes,
it's going to make a lot more sense. Okay.
Sure.
So that's the whole climax in the movie, is her figuring out the specific pitch and then going with the military to develop that sound weapon that is going to overtake the Sith.
Does she have engineering background? Could she make a sound weapon with the military?
She does not. I got to answer his questions. That's what the military is for. She works with them with that specific movie at the and points out the place where the dog started freaking out to find that pitch level and be able to use that against it.
So Tom,
I got to admit that it's great that Alice goes from diner waitress to government liaison really quickly. That's bravo, I guess. But not only that. So here's the other thing. I'm sorry. So you're basically telling me you're going to make the thing again, and you're going to ignore the thing that actually stops the thing in the other two movies they made, which is Cold. You could have came up with something with that, but instead you want to borrow Venom, which is a terrible film, and then you want to just basically use that again. So you're taking it and making it into the symbiote, and there is a whole better movie you just missed where you could say, hey, we have this thing in stasis. We need Alice's dream powers to defeat this thing forever, but you didn't. You whiffed it. You had a home run. It was softball.
Dream powers are useless, Bill.
Oh my God. No, they are not. She defeated a demon twice. I will have you know. #feminism.
A demon with specific dream powers.
So
that's
Tom,
the only application of that.
Tom, I want you to start your final thoughts. You have a few moments, so don't burn it all and tell me the end plot. But I also need to know your title. Why is yours the best pairing? Why did you make the best movie?
Okay, so obviously we've already built up to the climactic scene where she has given them the pitch, and she is currently riding with Jeff Goldblum in air to keep them away from this weapon, where they are using the sound weapon, which obviously is not going to affect humans, but is going to destroy the thing creature humans. Goes through. Obviously the military has the capabilities to have the long range weaponry to destroy all the things. They go over in a really sweet Kingsman style scene where they're just exploding these things that have just taken over the city. And obviously I'm skipping the main part where it goes through and starts taking over each person one by one. Go through, and then you destroy them all, land, everyone starts cheering, and everyone's happy, and then you see the camera pan to Jeff Goldblum, and you see coming out of his arm one of the thing appendages as he starts breaking open, cut to black, and the title card, Assimilation.
All right. Bill.
Give me 1 sec here. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
what was the name of yours one more time, Bill?
Mine?
Yeah.
It's Christine and the Evil Dead versus Ash.
Okay, got it.
All right. Now, am I just pitching my movie, or do I have to?
No, why is yours the best? No, why is yours the best one? Rebut anything final that you want to get in there and tell them why your pitch was awesome. With
sequels, you want to escalate. The thing that makes a villain great is that he's usually better than our hero. It gives the hero's journey. There's a reason why, he should barely win this fight. It should be a credible threat. Christine with the Evil Dead is the most credible threat. We get the classic villain team up. We have two different genres, and I get the team that made Tucker and Dale versus Evil. They will lob this right out of the park. It'll be the wonderful sequel that we've all wanted. And I'm going to pitch my after credit scene, if I can, real quick.
Sure.
So after the credits roll, when the movie is over, we see another angle from this fight in the 50s that has been going all over the place. Ash is driving along. He's trying to stop Christine. They're driving along this windy road. They accidentally knock out this ambulance. And then you see the ambulance, Crystal Lake Ambulance Company, preventing the rescue of Jason, which will lead into the sequel we have all wanted, Jason versus Freddy versus Ash.
Nice. All right, TJ, close this out. It lives.
So, I'm not forcing anything, guys. This is going to be a very happenstance. John Nada going homeless across the East Coast and finally comes across these kids. You can bring in a whole genre of the dog that was chasing the kid. It might have been Cujo. It's a Stephen King's complete bring-in with John Carpenter and mix of all these films. Now, mind you, John Nada in They Live was made as this giant goon, this brute force. And this, I'm giving him an emotional goodbye to where he actually inspires these kids for this film. I want something that actually makes a legit film. It is from space. John Nada fights things from outer space. So the Macroverse and the outer space thing very work, the Space Republicans. So there's definitely a reason why it would be leading the Space Republicans. Sorry, stealing your stuff, Bill. But this movie makes tons of sense compared to having a car versus Ash or some woman and her dog and the movie that I picked for him again. The Thing, again, repeated. This movie makes tons of sense. You get a great goodbye to a hero. A hero doesn't have to be someone who wins all the time. A hero has to be someone who inspires. This guy inspires these children to fight this fear and this monster that's been terrorizing them for months, for 27 years. And then until it goes away, not a stake in it.
All right. Whew.
Can I just say, can we stop making after credit scenes a thing? I already hate your movie.
After credit scenes are the best, and I've set up for the sequel. Everybody has been wanting for years.
I have to sit there for 10 minutes through the credits, but carry on.
Now, you don't have to do anything.
You don't have to. You can just wait for it to release on
whatever
YouTube.
You want. So, Brian, I guess the only fact we really need to know is when did that movie come out?
Which one?
The one we were all asking about. What was the movie? We want to know what year. I said The Thing. What year was The Thing? 79?
82.
82. I was wrong. See, there you go. Okay, were there any other facts in this factual based round?
No, there's no facts in these rounds. Pitch rounds contain no facts.
So let's go to Kimber first. Kimber, you have heard 3 delightfully awful pitches. I would like you to know which one made you want to vomit the least.
Okay, you guys were all great. That anyone was bad. Everybody was great.
They were awesome.
And I think you guys have been great all episode. As for the most cohesive, who felt like they actually had a handle on what their movie would actually be, who's made the most sense to me and really worked around the obstacles that you have to deal with in a fight like this, I think Bill did the best job personally. So that's where I would put my vote for this.
Wonderful. Brian?
There's some more good stuff than I was expecting. Like Tom's pitch came along more, although I do think that Bill hit him pretty hard with not making use of Alice's dream powers in some way, trying to use it to connect with this thing while it was in stasis or something like that. So that was a knock. TJ's movie, I like what he did, but it does kind of just sound like the plot of it with Nada plopped in there to not do much else, but kind of just go with them, and then die. So I do think that as far as a pitch goes, Bill had the most kind of original content. He had the best handle on doing something different and using the characters in the best way he could to make a new story. So I was leaning toward Bill too.
Okay, so it comes down to me. I did actually like the pitches. The pitch rounds are super duper hard. So if you ever watch this at home and you think, oh, I could have done this
round, that's also a kind of a secret round where you don't know you're going to be pitching and you're really coming up with it on the fly. Everybody should be commended just for being able to come up with something.
Absolutely. Everybody got challenged today. This was not an easy fight. The person who wins this fight today knows that they have a shot at Kimber because they really had to bring it in order to win. So nobody, no shame here. So I'm going to start with Tom's pitch. Tom, unfortunately, I think for you, not utilizing Alice more in your film is really the only thing that kind of brings it down. I think I heard more about what Jeff Goldblum brings to the movie than what Alice does. And as just a side note, like someone with cold powers, so she goes to sleep, she grabs the thing and falls asleep and takes him to the Arctic in her dream or a cold place in her dream and uses the cold from the dream world. You know what I mean? Like something that just kind of incorporates her ability. So your film lacked a hero. So for me, it fell between Bill and TJ. Actually, Brian, you came up with an interesting criticism there that his movie, TJ's movie, is sort of the plot of it with Nada thrown in, and we don't necessarily get a ton of Nada. But I did like how he incorporated Nada's use of the glasses so it allows an adult to see what kids see, because I thought that was a really cool element. I love the title. I think the title was perfect.
Oh, yeah, the title is, you could practically sell it on that. Just no, I'm not going to argue. It lives.
So you didn't. One of the things you didn't give me was that the iconic scene where he is telling the kids, here's how you fight. In the book, there's a really dark way that they do that, and that's by having the kids do something in the sewer. And all I was waiting for you to say was like, this is the replacement of that scene, because that's the purpose of that scene in the book, is they do the thing in the sewer, and that's supposed to inspire them to fight the clown. And I was like, oh, this could be Nada replacing that, which is a much crappier scene. So like I was looking for like a final punch of like tying it in there. And I didn't get that for sure. So when I'm looking at Bill's, I really did like how you incorporated the entire plot into all of the plots of all of the movies it was messing with. Your end credit scene maybe gets a little gratuitous with that. However, I do think that that was really cool. I think it's a missed opportunity that it's not Ash's car that gets possessed by Christine, and then he defeats his car at the end, and then that gets away and makes Christine for its own movie. I think that's the only thing I would probably change. But overall, I thought it was Christine a solid pitch.
Destroys his car, and then he has to tame Christine and make that his new car.
Right. So all of the elements, obviously you guys came up with this on the fly. So all of the elements have little weaknesses, but it definitely, I thought TJ and Bill gave me the stronger pitch. So who do I pick at the end? Do I go against Kimber and Brian and pick TJ? I think TJ definitely has the better title, but I think at the end you can, because of the characters involved, you can easily close your eyes and see the crazy Christine versus the Evil Dead versus Ash movie, and kind of you know everything you need to know about Ash. You need everything you know about the car by a hair. I will give it to Bill. Congratulations, you have won today's episode of Fan Friction.
Undefeated. Undefeated.
For the record, TJ, if our characters were switched, I could have created fantastic movies for either of those two.
I was
By
like,
the way, I
just give Tom the
feel
car
like
movie.
I need to say this. It Lives is an amazing title. That was
fantastic. You definitely got points for It Lives. I wrote it down. So guys, great fight. Congratulations to Bill. Bill, you will be moving on to return to fight the winners of two battles that are upcoming. And then the winner of that fight will join Brian to face Kimber to try to take the belt off the shelf. But it looks really good up there, and I don't think Kimber's going to let it go real easy. So just keep that in mind. Let's go around the table real quick and tell everyone where we can find you. Tom, where can we find you on the internet?
Well, you can find me here losing to Bill on multiple occasions. But
this was a rematch fight for you.
Yes, it was, and I also lost more spectacularly than last time. But
you got a point. It's all that matters, right?
But you can find me saying weird stuff on Twitter at RoadRaider3. I do have a YouTube channel. It's called Zed Reviews. If you go there might be some new content soon. Kind of teasing it a little bit. It's not going to be cars and popcorn. That might come back later, but there will be some new content soon. So stand by, and Dream Powers suck. That's why I didn't incorporate them back. They suck.
You did a great job. Thank you so much for joining us. Your arguments were awesome, so we appreciate it. TJ, where can we find you?
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was a blast. I'm glad I finally got to fight on the show. You guys can find me at TJ Dex, where obviously I take things very seriously. Hot takes, whatever you guys want to see. We also have a YouTube channel, Movie Squad, where we do Flyover State of Film. We just did episode 9. We did Movie Trivia Smackdown, Respect the Game. Check that out, guys, and all the other episodes. Fun with my buddy Brian Hurst here. But other than that, thank you for having me, Jack. It's been a blast.
Oh, dude, glad to have you on. Sorry it took so long to get you on. Thanks for joining us today. Sorry I beat you so badly at Gamer Grudge.
Yes.
Bill, where can everybody find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter. I'm on Philadelphia, PA. You can also follow my show on YouTube. It's called Research and Destroy. I just did an episode recently where I had Chris Chipman from the Chipman Brothers Tangent on to discuss Full Moon movies, which was 85% Puppet Master because it's a lot of it. I also just did an episode of the Talkbuster podcast, where I talked about my time back when I was about 1920 and I worked at a porn video store. So hilarity ensued, I will just say.
So now our second guest who has ties to the porn industry. Hi.
So,
well, congratulations today. You did a great job. We'll be in touch with when we're going to get to the championship show. Kimber, you already told us a little bit of the Odd Shape panel, but why don't we find out where we can find you on the internet?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at KimberBatch_OSP. I also very recently did an episode of It's a Wonderful Podcast with Nolan and Morgan, who I believe both have been involved with this show and definitely are with Odd Shape Panel. So definitely check that out. We did an episode about Vincent Price's Fall of the House of Usher. So definitely check that out. Thank you.
Awesome. And thank you, of course, for joining us again. We look forward to putting your championship on the line soon. But we want to get you actually into a regular episode just so you can kind of dust off the rust and show everybody how kick-ass you are. So that'll be coming soon, too. Look forward to that. And then, Brian, tell everybody about where to find you.
Well, you can always find me as well, just like all these fine people on Twitter at Hurst. You can find me on Flyover State of Film, but also every other week I'm releasing new DVD bunkers now. And if you're into that hot Kimber content, you could look for this Wednesday. I got a DVD bunker episode with Kimber herself. We're talking about Death Becomes Her. So a little bit of a preview there on this for this week. But any other time, just search DVD bunker or Flyover State of Film on any of your podcast apps, and you'll be able to find me on there chatting movies. My last episode featured an internet favorite of all of ours, Mr. Nick Mundy, talk about Hot Shots. So that was a fun one too. So look out for more.
That's such a great movie.
Both of those films are so great.
I'm sorry. I meant to shut out. Also have a show on Aussie Panel that we do from Code to Script. We just did an episode with Billy Polahan doing Street Fighter. We got one coming out with Ashley Davis on the Saturdays on the podcast. Flip around, and we were talking Mortal Kombat. I meant to throw that out there. I'm so sorry I forgot, and sorry for cutting you off.
Oh, no problem. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Again, I'm Jack Shipley. I'm your host. You can find me at JRS Pitboy 2008 on Twitter and on gaming consoles. I will be playing Fallout 76 for the very foreseeable near future, so don't expect to actually get me to respond. But join us again in 1 month when sometime in November we join 3 new fighters to face off to see who wins, who can go for, rather, Kimber's belt. So thank you, everybody. To see you. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the rest of your month, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.